Welcome to Shinn Everyday Inspiration, the place where timeless wisdom becomes daily practice and where words of faith unlock doors of abundance. Today, I bring you a truth that has been hidden in plain sight: speak like a king, live like a millionaire. Florence Scovel Shinn declared, "Your word is your wand, and if your word is your wand, then you are no ordinary person. You are royalty." Every sentence you speak is a decree, every thought a command, every affirmation a law waiting to be fulfilled. Think for a moment. What if the wealth you seek is not locked in your labor, not hidden in the world's economy, but resting in the very words you speak? What if the riches you desire are waiting, silently, for your voice of authority? A king does not beg for his kingdom. A king does not plead for bread. He speaks, and it is so. And so too when you speak in faith, when you speak with the authority of spirit, you call riches, opportunities, and blessings to your door. In this message, we will explore how to align your words with divine law, how to shape your world with your decrees, and how to carry yourself daily as the king or queen you truly are. Stay with me, for before this hour ends, you will know the secret that when you speak like a king, you must live like a millionaire. The royal power of words. Words are not empty sounds. They are living forces. Each word is a seed planted in the garden of life. Each phrase is a decree that sets invisible powers in motion. When you speak, you are not simply communicating, you are creating. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand." And what is a wand but the scepter of a king? A king rules by decree, not by begging. A king speaks once and his kingdom moves in obedience. So too, when you speak in faith, your world obeys your command. When you say, "I am rich," you open the gates of abundance. When you say, "I am strong," strength rises to meet you. When you say, "I am guided," wisdom lights your path. But when you say, "I can't," you slam shut the very doors you prayed would open. When you say, "I'll never," you chain yourself with your own tongue. The royal power of words is this: they return to you. As Florence taught, life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. Every word you release comes back multiplied. If you send out words of fear, fear will return to your door. If you send out words of lack, lack will find its way to your table. But if you send out words of plenty, plenty will overflow. If you send out words of wealth, wealth will surely appear. Kings do not speak carelessly, and neither must you. Your speech is not small talk, it is prophecy. Every conversation is a spell you cast. Every declaration is a bridge you build toward your destiny. To speak negatively is to hand away your crown. To speak doubt is to dethrone yourself, but to speak faith is to rise again to your rightful place as ruler of your life. Begin today to speak royally. Say, "I always have more than enough." Say, "Divine supply flows to me without effort." Say, "My words shape my fortune, and my fortune cannot fail." Let these decrees roll from your tongue as naturally as breathing. Soon, your speech will change your consciousness, and your consciousness will change your world. The royal power of words is not in shouting, nor in repetition without belief. Its power lies in faith-filled authority. When you speak as though you already possess your good, the universe has no choice but to bring it forth. When you declare your wealth, your health, your success, all unseen forces rise to deliver what you have spoken. So I ask you, how have you been speaking? Have your words crowned you, or have they stripped you? Have your words opened doors, or closed them? The time has come to speak as a king, to decree your riches, to command your good. Speak like royalty. Live like royalty. For the one who rules their words rules their world. The king's mindset: a king does not beg. A king does not plead. A king does not wonder if his needs will be met. He knows who he is, and he knows the authority he carries. This is the king's mindset: certainty, assurance, and calm dominion. It is the consciousness that says, "I already possess all that I desire." It is the inner knowing that wealth is not something you chase, but something you allow. Florence Scovel Shinn declared, "Man can only receive what he sees himself receiving." And what does the king see? He sees his treasury overflowing. He sees his table filled with plenty. He sees his word honored by all who hear it. The king never imagines lack, for lack is beneath his station. He only envisions abundance, and abundance comes swiftly to him. The king's mindset is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the awareness that divine supply cannot run dry. It is the understanding that spirit provides without limit. When you walk with this mindset, you never ask, "Will I have enough?" You simply say, "I live in the infinite, and I am always supplied." Notice how kings behave. They do not rush, they do not panic. They move deliberately with dignity because they trust their authority. So too must you move through life. When a problem arises, do not fall into fear. Stand tall, lift your head, and remember, I am divinely backed. My words create the solution. The king's mindset is the millionaire's mindset. It does not dwell on bills, but on blessings. It does not worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow is already provided for. It lives in the eternal now, in the constant flow of abundance. Florence taught, faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. The king acts as though the riches are already his, because in truth they are. The millionaire acts as though money flows freely, because in truth it does. So too must you walk, not in doubt, not in fear, but in the quiet boldness of one who knows their wealth is secure. Say within yourself, I am royalty in spirit. I see riches all around me. I am rich now. I carry the king's mindset. Nothing can be withheld from me. Remember, you cannot think like a pauper and live like a prince. You cannot speak the language of lack and sit on a throne of wealth. Your outer life mirrors your inner consciousness. Shift your thoughts, and you shift your world. Think richly, and life will clothe you richly. Think abundantly, and abundance will appear at your door. So walk as a king walks, calm, confident, certain. Think as a king thinks, richly, generously, expansively. For the one who carries the king's mindset cannot live in lack. He must live as a millionaire, because his mind is already there. Speak the millionaire's language. Language is not small, it is destiny. Every word that leaves your lips is a seed planted in the soil of tomorrow. And that seed will grow, whether into flowers of abundance or weeds of lack. To live richly, you must speak richly. To walk in wealth, you must talk in wealth, for the words you speak today will determine the riches you live in tomorrow. Florence Scovel Shinn said, do not voice lack or limitation, for by doing so you impress lack upon the subconscious. Every word you utter impresses itself upon your inner mind. Your subconscious does not argue, it does not reason, it simply accepts. If you say, I can't afford this, your subconscious will make sure you never can. If you say, I always struggle, life will obey and provide more struggle. But if you say, I am divinely supplied, the subconscious sets unseen forces into motion to fulfill that decree. Kings do not speak like beggars. Millionaires do not speak like paupers. They carry the language of certainty, of command, of authority. Their words are filled with assurance, not apology. Their sentences are decrees, not complaints. If you desire to live like a millionaire, you must first speak like one. Erase the vocabulary of fear from your tongue. Release phrases such as, I never have enough, or, money is so hard to come by. Replace them with royal affirmations. I always have more than enough. Money flows to me easily and joyfully. My supply is endless, and it reaches me in perfect ways. The millionaire's language is not boastful, it is faithful. It does not beg, it commands. It does not dwell on what is missing. It affirms what is already present in spirit. Florence reminded us, words and thoughts are a form of dynamite, and should be handled with care. Indeed, your tongue is the most powerful tool you possess. You can use it to build palaces or prisons, fortunes or failures. Your words can either lock the gates of wealth or fling them wide open. So practice the speech of wealth daily. When you wake, declare, today, I speak like a millionaire, and riches follow my words. When you spend, say, this money blesses all it touches and returns multiplied. When you work, my efforts are divinely prospered. With every sentence, affirm wealth, and with every word, plant prosperity. Soon, your language will become habit. And when your words habitually point to abundance, abundance must appear. For life is compelled to obey the language of faith. So ask yourself, what language do you speak? Is it the tongue of struggle, or the tongue of success? Do you speak like one in lack, or like one already rich? For the one who speaks like a millionaire cannot help but leave like one. The silent authority of faith, a king, does not need to shout. He does not repeat his decree 20 times to be heard. He speaks once with quiet confidence, and it is done. So it is with faith. Faith is the silent authority that governs the unseen. Faith does not plead, it declares. Faith does not worry, it rests. Faith does not chase, it attracts. Florence Scovel Shinn taught, faith knows it has already received, and acts accordingly. Notice, faith does not hope it will happen someday. Faith does not ask, will this work? Faith says, it is already mine. And because faith accepts it as done, life rushes to fulfill it. When you speak with faith, you are not trying to convince God. You are not trying to persuade the universe. You are aligning with divine law, which is already perfect and already complete. Faith is not noise, it is knowing. Faith is not repetition, it is realization. The silent authority of faith is this: once you have spoken, it is settled. You do not return to the decree with doubt. You do not cancel your command with fear. You speak once, and you rest as though it were already done. Consider the farmer who plants his seed. He does not dig it up the next morning to see if it is growing. He trusts the law of growth. So too, when you decree your wealth, you do not return to the field of words with worry. You trust the silent law of faith to bring the harvest in its season. Florence declared, "Never voice lack or limitation, for by doing so you impress lack upon your subconscious. When you speak in fear after speaking in faith, you uproot your seed. But when you remain silent after your decree, you water it with trust." Silence is the evidence of faith, for silence means you know it is already done. Say to yourself now, "My words are law, backed by the authority of Spirit. I speak once in faith, and my decree is fulfilled. I rest in silence, knowing my riches are on the way." The authority of faith is not loud, it is calm. It does not panic in storms. It sleeps in peace. It does not tremble before lack. It smiles at abundance unseen. Faith is the voice of royalty, the calm assurance of one who knows his treasury cannot run dry. So when you speak your prosperity, do not cancel it with worry. When you decree your wealth, do not question how it will come. The how belongs to Spirit. The decree belongs to you. Trust the silent authority of faith. Speak richly, rest deeply, and watch as riches appear at your door, not by noise, but by quiet certainty. For the one who speaks in faith once and then rests shall live in the wealth he has already decreed. Giving is royal generosity. A king is never afraid to give. Why? Because he knows his treasury is endless. A river does not fear running dry when it pours into the sea, for it is constantly replenished from the source. So too is the life of the one who understands giving. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote, "Giving opens the way for receiving. Giving multiplies and increases." Many believe they must hold tightly to what little they have. They cling in fear, "If I give, I will lose." But fear-based giving is not giving, it is withholding. And withholding shuts the very door through which abundance longs to enter. Royal generosity is not about the amount. It is about the spirit. When a king gives a coin, it carries the weight of his authority, his confidence, his certainty that more will always flow. When you give, do not give in fear or obligation. Give with the joy of one who knows the treasury of heaven is behind them. For your supply is not your bank account, nor your employer, nor any man. Your supply is divine, and divine supply is endless. Florence reminded us, man can only receive what he gives. If you desire wealth, give wealth in some form. If you desire joy, give joy. If you desire opportunity, open doors for others. The law is clear: what you scatter, you gather. What you release, you receive multiplied. Royal generosity does not ask, "What if I have nothing left?" It says instead, "Because I give, I will always have more." It is the confidence of a millionaire's heart, a spirit so rooted in abundance that it cannot imagine lack. Begin small if you must. Give a kind word, a smile, a helping hand. Give your attention, your encouragement, your blessing. And as your faith expands, give also of your resources, knowing that every seed sown returns in harvest. Think of a farmer again. If he fears to release his seed, no crop can grow. But when he scatters freely into the soil, the earth multiplies his offering. So it is with you. Your giving plants seeds in the invisible field of spirit. And the harvest returns in ways you cannot predict, through channels you cannot control. Say to yourself, "I give freely, and I receive richly. My generosity is a royal act, and my harvest is assured. Every gift I release comes back multiplied from divine supply." Do not wait until you feel rich to give. It is giving that makes you rich. It is generosity that places you in the flow of abundance. It is releasing that invites the floodgates of heaven to open. So step into your kingship. Give with confidence. Give with joy. Give as one who knows the treasury of spirit can never be exhausted. For when you give as royalty, you receive as royalty. And riches will flow back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The throne of gratitude. Gratitude is the throne upon which a king sits. It is the posture of royalty, the silent crown upon the head of abundance. For gratitude transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, and it multiplies the riches you already hold. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Gratitude is the law of increase, and complaint is the law of decrease." Every time you give thanks, you set the law of increase into motion. Every time you complain, you invoke the law of loss. The choice is yours. Will you sit upon the throne of gratitude or bow before the chains of complaint? A millionaire's wealth is not measured only by what he possesses, but by the spirit in which he receives it. When you thank God for the smallest coin, you open the door for treasures untold. When you are grateful for the meal before you, you prepare a banquet for tomorrow. When you bless the opportunities in your hand, you attract opportunities beyond measure. Gratitude is not passive, it is creative. It is not a polite, thank you, but a spiritual force that multiplies your blessings. It says, "What I have is more than enough, and more is always on the way." This is the throne of gratitude, the royal seat from which kings rule their world. Florence reminded us, man should bless and give thanks continually. For what you bless increases, and what you curse withers. When you complain about bills, you multiply them. When you bless your money, you multiply it. When you curse your work, it becomes heavier. When you bless your work, it becomes lighter and more prosperous. A grateful heart is magnetic. It draws to itself more of what it praises. It does not beg, it receives. It does not envy, it celebrates. It does not grasp. It opens its hands and trusts the flow of spirit. Say within yourself, I am grateful for the riches I see, and for those already on their way. The gratitude is my throne, and I sit upon it with joy. I bless my money, my work, my opportunities, and they multiply under grace. You consider the beggar and the king. The beggar complains of what he lacks and remains in lack. The king gives thanks for what he has and receives more. The difference is not circumstance, it is consciousness. It is gratitude that makes the king rich, and ingratitude that keeps the beggar poor. So sit upon your throne, make gratitude your daily habit, your royal command, your spiritual song. Bless the pennies as though they were gold. Bless the doors that close as though they were gateways to better things. Bless the very breath in your body, for it is proof that divine life is still flowing through you. For when you live in gratitude, you live in abundance, and when you rule from the throne of gratitude, you reign as a true king, rich in spirit, rich in supply, and rich in joy unending. Living daily as royalty. Royalty is not a costume you put on for a single moment. It is a way of life. To live daily as royalty is to carry yourself with the consciousness of a king or queen, no matter your outer circumstances. It is to walk through each day knowing that you are divinely supplied, divinely guided, and divinely protected. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Man's word is his wand filled with magic and power." When you understand this, you no longer treat your days casually. Every moment becomes sacred, every word becomes creative, and every action becomes royal. You begin to live with intention, with dignity, and with the quiet authority of one who knows their inheritance cannot be stolen. Living as royalty does not mean arrogance. It means awareness. It means you no longer speak like a beggar, for you know your supply is infinite. You no longer worry like the fearful, for you know your path is guarded. You no longer chase like the desperate, for you know that what is yours will find you. To live daily as royalty is to practice the presence of wealth in the smallest things. When you wake, you rise as though in a palace, even if your room is humble. When you eat, you bless your meal as though it were a royal banquet. When you walk, you carry yourself as one who has authority over lack, fear, and doubt. Florence reminded us, the invisible forces are ever working for man who is always giving thanks. This means your royal posture of gratitude, faith, and generosity calls unseen powers to serve you. Just as kings have attendants, so do you have invisible helpers, angels of supply, opportunities, and inspiration, moving on your behalf. But they respond only to a royal command, not to fear-filled muttering. Living daily as royalty is about habits of the spirit. It is speaking affirmations throughout the day. I walk in divine wealth. I am royalty of spirit, supplied in every way. I expect the best, and only the best comes to me. It is pausing to correct yourself when you are tempted to complain, replacing every murmur of lack with words of abundance. It is choosing to bless your work instead of curse it, to give instead of withhold, to trust instead of fear. It is the continual remembrance that you are not a servant of circumstance. You are a child of the King, and a king in your own right. This daily royalty shows itself in peace when others panic. It shows itself in generosity when others cling. It shows itself in vision when others only see limitation. It is a steady light, a calm presence, a living testimony that you are more than what the world sees. You are spirit expressed. So let each day be your throne room. Let your words be decrees, your thoughts be noble, your actions be generous, and your spirit be grateful. For when you live daily as royalty, you will find that life itself bends to serve you, bringing opportunities, wealth, and joy to your very doorstep. And so, beloved listener, We return to the truth. You were never meant to speak like a beggar. You were born to decree like a king. Every word you have spoken has shaped your world. Every decree you make in faith sets invisible forces in motion. Every act of gratitude, generosity, and silence builds your unseen kingdom. To live richly is not first about money. It is about consciousness. It is about remembering that your tongue is the scepter of your destiny. That when you say, "I am supplied, I am prosperous, I am blessed," heaven itself must respond. Florence Scovel Shinn taught us that words are wands, filled with magic and power. And today, you hold that wand in your hand. The power to speak life, wealth, success, and joy into existence is yours. So walk from this moment as royalty. Speak as a king, give as a king, live as a king. Let your silence be filled with faith, your words with command, and your heart with gratitude. Say with me one last decree. I speak like a king, and I live like a millionaire. Divine supply flows to me freely, endlessly and perfectly. It is done. And carry this truth into your days. Sit upon your throne of gratitude, rule with the authority of faith, and watch as your words build the palace of your destiny. For the crown has always been yours. The scepter has always been in your hand. Now, speak and live as the royalty you were created to be.